All right, we're going to look at example 2. I wrote out the cosine law formula here. I just wrote it out in the one version, but you can see how the a's are at the end and the middle numbers are in here. Determine the measure of each angle in the triangle below. So this one's given all the sides, so that's why sine law wouldn't work. You have no angles. So to do this, we're going to, doesn't matter which side we find first, or angle rather, let's just find the top one, G. So that means I'm going to put 9 squared as my A, or my number up front. It's really a G. But 9 squared is equal to, and then the other two numbers go in the middles. And then cos of angle G. So let's square all these. So 81 equals 49 plus 64 minus 112 cos of G. So now we're going to solve for G. We got to isolate cos G. So I usually kind of add these two numbers together. Otherwise, I can just subtract them individually. But just for this first example, we want to make sure that's clear. So I'm going to move 113 to the other side now. So 81 minus 113 gives me a negative number. That's okay. Equals negative 112 cos of G. Divide off negative 112. And you've got cos G, two negatives make it positive. It is possible sometimes to have a negative number here, and in which case you do keep the negative sign in your calculator. Remember, you're solving for the angle, so you're using the cos -1 button. So I'm just going to kind of treat this like scrap paper. You would type cos -1 and in brackets 32 over 112. So I'm going to show you on my calculator. So shift cos, so that I get cos -1. I have to open a bracket because it's fractions. 32 divided by 112 and close my brackets, and that'll give me my angle of 73.4 degrees when we round that. So that's angle G. Don't just put an equal to sign here because that's really equal to the decimal of 32 over 112. So what did I say that was? 73.4 degrees. All right. Now we need to find one of the other angles. I'm going to just go to I now. So I'm going to use 7 here. So we have a little more room here. So 7 squared is equal to, so then I use the other two numbers in the middle, 8 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 8 times 9 cos of I. So 49 equals 64 plus 81 minus 144 cos I. You're going to move these two over. If you want to add them first to move it over, otherwise you can just go in your calculator, 49 minus 64 minus 81. You're going to get negative 96 on this side equals negative 144 cos of angle I. Divide off that coefficient of negative 144. So cos of angle I is equal to 96 over 144. There's no sense in reducing that because you're just going to put that right into your calculator using that shift button again. So shift cos, don't forget to open the brackets. Some calculators open your brackets for you, so then you're good to go, but then you should close the bracket. And we get 48.2 degrees when you're rounding to a decimal place. And now you have one more angle to find. You need to find angle H. Now, typically, we say we want to use what's given in the question, but if we know two angles, we can just subtract to find the third, which is going to save us a lot of time and work with this. So we're going to do that in this question. Some of you might be wondering if I can use sine law for part 2 or 3. Technically you can, but we want to practice cosine law. Plus with rounding, the problem with sine law is you've rounded, so you're actually not going to get the accurate numbers here. All right, so I'm going to subtract these other two angles. Minus 48.2 degrees. And angle H then is going to be 58.4 degrees. So there are your 3 angles.